Sync clap on 3. 1, 2, 3.
There's
God.
no reason to do that.
Damn it, Price. And you not even get clapping figured out. Welcome.
Can't figure it out.
To a slightly more calm effing video game podcast.
I don't think you'll be calm by the end of it.
No, I'll be erect. But yeah, we're your hosts. You know, you're pretty used to hearing us, our smooth audio voices. This is Dylan. Price, give a voice check.
Hello.
And then we got Nathan here.
Hey.
And wouldn't you know, we actually got a special guest on today's episode.
We got Mr. Hotshot.
Hotshot
Golf
You better believe
himself.
we'll talk about that one.
FN movie podcast host own Mason Rector. Welcome to the video game podcast. Can you get a tiny little clap? Tiny clap. That's it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we got 4 people. We're gonna shrink our format time a little bit, but you never know about that time. We keep that behind the scenes, but just trust that we keep this structured. But yeah, so we come here, we talk about video games, we give some
Talk
thoughts
about
on
what we've
things.
been playing recently.
Yeah.
You know, how that's going. So, who wants to kick us off?
I'll go first. That way
Yeah.
he can kind of see what's going on,
Get a
and then
vibe,
the
yeah.
two big boys can
Duke it
go
out.
last.
Oh, was hoping
But
for
I
bloodshed.
can't even remember the last like a week and a half ago we did this. I guess.
Yeah,
So it's
something
everything
like
in
that.
that meantime.
Uh-huh.
I think I've pretty much only been playing one game since then, and that is Horizon Forbidden West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing to spoil is the story.
Yeah,
and
so let's skip
that is
that.
by far my favorite part of this game.
Okay.
Every 5 to 8 hours, there's something that keeps me guessing every time. Like there's some kind of new story drop that I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And like that has kept me going tremendously. Some of the best graphics I've seen. I think it gives Last of Us 2 a run for its money, in all honesty. But the thing that is getting kind of tiring about the game is there's so many checkpoints and stuff on the map to do. And I want to do them all because the side quests are entertaining. Everybody's been comparing it to The Witcher in that, like, they're so engaging. There's stuff you can do, which is really cool. There's even one point where I did a side mission, and I completed it, and then I went back to the main mission, and at the end of the main mission, they were closing out the dialogue, and they're like, oh yeah, like that side mission you did, she'll be blah, 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 in like a little bit. So it was cool to see that my side mission was recognized in the dialogue of the main mission. So that was pretty cool.
That's always healthy world building narratively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it makes it seem like what you're doing actually matters.
Right, and it's
which
not
is
just helping this one
a
individual.
big thing.
Right.
But I have gotten kind of tired of doing the side quests, to be honest, because it just feels like it's taking a lot of time and it's doing what I'm not wanting to see, and I want the main story because have you played it yet, Dylan?
No.
At all?
No.
But it throws in a lot of stuff. It feels like Horizon Zero Dawn was kind of getting you ready for this game. Like it's doing all the world building you don't want to see, which is kind of what I didn't like about the first game, because I was like, the world hates your main character because she's an outcast. Like, why would you want to save them? They're pieces of shit. And in the second one, you don't really have to worry about that because you just want to save everybody anyway.
They're not
Even
pieces
getting
of
my-
shit. They're just religious.
Well, in this world, they mean the same to me.
Split your hairs.
Oh, well. But I've been tremendously enjoying it. That's really all I've been playing. I've got a lot of hours into it. Not as much, I don't think, as you all in Elden Ring, but
You
still,
probably got me on Elden Ring.
Yeah,
hours
you
now.
said
I know.
that's
That's
over.
no,
You've
still.
had a week and a half, so I've only had a day to put 9 hours in.
I've had like 3 days.
I know, and I don't think I've matched those hours yet.
I would actually be doing a little bit, if I was meeting at the rate that I wish I was doing, I'd be a couple hours more than Nathan, because I got 9 hours in on day 1.
Anyway, you all can do
but
this.
We'll get
in-
there,
in-
we'll get
in
there,
the
we'll get
last
there.
shot.
Yeah.
Shake your dicks off.
Yeah, just
It's over.
what are you two doing?
I don't know. I'll answer any questions y'all have about it, but all I can say is I'm looking forward to finishing it, and it's been a really fun experience
I've
so
not
far.
played either of them. I assume that you really want to have played the first one to...
Yes.
Yeah,
1000%.
I've only
yes.
I've done a lot to sit there and actually kind of be mostly blind on this one and Elden Ring both because those are games with like rich narrative and stuff like that, right? So this one I did get a little bit from a buddy of mine who was sitting here and saying that the story definitely is the shining part of this one. From like the first one, I don't want to get into spoilers into that one, but how the big how we get here, so to speak, story, right, and how they're expanding from that instead of worrying so much on the current now and day. And again, I don't know, like that's very, very vague intentionally so, but
Yeah, because that's what I'm coming there for is the story.
Right.
And I really like
Yeah,
it.
I think that it does a really sweet, like, I don't want to call it a twist because I wouldn't really necessarily call it that, but like how it explains why the world is the way it is now you're like, oh, that's really cool. And obviously in the first one, that's like a very just big seed planted. But they're like, resolve what's going on in the current, and then we'll dig more up the past in this game. I'm guessing is kind of how it's playing out.
Dylan hasn't played this game yet, but he just described it better than I did.
Well, there you go. The master of words.
Well, the first one I remember like some of the creatures.
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
You can say robots. Everybody knows it's robots.
Oh yeah, it's all dinosaur robots.
Yeah, these
and
animal
like,
robot things.
animal.
I remember there was a few of them that were just like insanely large and very, very, very difficult. Enough to where like if you saw one, you rerouted your entire situation. You did not want to go through.
Yeah, like the big T-Rexes. Or like
they're still here, definitely.
Are they bigger and badder?
Yes, it's almost annoying because like I feel like I'm over leveled and I should be able to take them on, but they still can kill me in one hit.
I appreciate
which
that.
Seems incredibly unfair. And you all can say all about difficulty here in just a moment.
Well, we will.
But to me, it's just not too cool. Like when like I'm barely chipping away and it's like aiming for its weak points, doing all this stuff, and then it takes one leaping attack and like takes up my entire screen, and I'm trying to dodge roll away, and then they go whop and just like roll their paw over and I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well,
So let me ask this as far as the gameplay goes. If you feel like you're mentioning you're being over leveled, I typically kind of hear this as a concept where it's just like you feel over leveled whenever like things aren't hurting you nearly as bad as you're hurting them, right? Like you feel like you're a god amongst men. Would you compare this to being like over, I guess, over utility, right? You have all these things you could be doing to pick apart this and stuff, I assume, because that's
there's a bunch of different tools.
Right, like there's a lot of ways to go about a given fight on how you want to sit there and take it down, or at least that's how original Horizon was. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's more of I could take this down 6 different ways, but the one way I'm doing it just isn't doing it the way I like it, and it's not like...
You would think so, but I'm using like a lot of the tools they provide.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a sniper kind of bow, there's a regular bow,
Yeah.
there's slingers, there's traps, and I'm using all of those, but still, like I feel like I'm not doing it the way the game wants to or something. It's like the game wants to be Monster Hunter at points, and the combat is not near enough refined to even try to compare itself to Monster Hunter.
In the first one.
No.
It was like 3 hits, or like 3 buttons that you could like sweep up,
But like it's wanting to though, like it created these large encounters to try to push you to do that, but like it just feels like those limits are there. Like the melee combat is still not good if you remember that from the first one.
I mean, but that's that's roughly intentional though. I mean, again, like the core of this game really wants you to be using a bow and range.
Yeah, there's no way you can melee the
right.
T-Rex
You shouldn't be meleeing the T-Rex.
robot.
Period. Right. Exactly. But I guess my other follow-up question with this is, how does battling or fighting aside, how does like the movement and stuff look? Because the biggest gripe in hindsight, I would say, with Horizon Zero Dawn, when I was doing I trying to do a replay beforehand, I just didn't get the time to finish through, was that it's like, yes, you're moving and you get the riding stuff and that's all fine and good, but this one was like you could do gliding, you could do this, and I saw that much in like the trailer I saw.
They're fine. They don't revolutionize the way that you go throughout the map, at least as far as I've gotten, I'm getting close to the end, I think. But you can climb up a lot of stuff, but it's not Breath of the Wild kind of climbing where you can go up anything.
Yeah.
Basically, you press this button and you can see all the looting stuff you can. And then you can also look at walls and it has yellow lines that you can climb. And sometimes the game is kind of jank. Like, you feel like you should be able to just hold up and go up onto a ledge, but she's like, you didn't press the right button, or like you're not in the right spot, and then I move a centimeter to the left, and she's like, there we go, I can go up now. So that gets pretty frustrating.
Like Assassin's Creed in that sense.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. There's some polish that needs to happen there.
I think
But
Uncharted was like
all
that
in all,
too.
yeah, it's very similar to Uncharted, but Uncharted almost feels better when it comes to climbing and running and that kind of thing. But that's primarily
that's its core, right? I was about to say this one. I think is to say that it's more ambitious in its mechanics. I think is a fair statement for it. But
all right, well that's all for me. Why don't we start with a new guy?
Hey, Mason, you're here. What have you been playing? What have you been into, buddy?
Well, Price and I have been playing Borderlands 2, right?
Yep.
That one? Yeah.
2. Oh, 2. Okay, so you have one back for 2.
Why are y'all on 2?
Yeah, why go
Are
back
y'all
to 2?
planning on working your way through them? Or?
Well, I'm playing this pre-sequel, which I didn't realize that was not the first one.
It's really a sequel to the
the
second.
prequel.
I'm
but
so
it's
tired
still
of
a
hearing this
pre-sequel.
drawn out. I have no idea which one. I just know that
Somebody
I've
give
played
him a
the first
visual.
one.
He's not a word
Yeah, I
guy.
need like a
Here's the first one.
timeline
Where's
on
this?
paper.
Yeah.
2-dimensional timeline for me.
Mhm.
No, but I've played the original Borderlands, and this one is, I'd say, better. I'd argue too that the pre-sequel's also good. They all three have different dynamics. I do remember the first one being pretty tough. Of course, that one was in the Badlands, right?
I don't remember. I didn't like the first one.
Yeah. See, I didn't like that one a whole lot. But the second one is a lot of fun, especially when you play with a party and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this game, it sounds like Borderlands is a game built for, like, you should be co-oping with your buddies.
Oh,
this
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think this
It would be
game
much
you
less
would
fun.
want to play by yourself.
No, yeah. Like, could you play
Speaking
it?
of
Yeah.
which, if y'all do play 3,
Yeah.
I'd be interested. I've got it. I just haven't actually busted it out.
I can't remember what 3 is. Where are they at? Because the third one's pre-sequel's in space.
I don't know. To
Okay.
me, Borderlands is all just like the shooter game.
Yeah.
Chaos.
It looks
the
like...
shooter-looter game.
It looks like wacky looter Mad Max, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest. And that's
it
what I
does.
remember kind of loosely playing from 2, because I played 2, but I don't remember, like, much of 2. So I didn't beat it. Like, I played probably, like, a handful of
Jackson's,
hours.
like, it's Jackson's actual favorite game of all time. So I have played that game through to the end at least 10 times.
Okay.
No exaggeration. And he's probably done it 50.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not exaggerating.
He claimed the other day that he'll just drink and he'll just
Yep.
play.
It's his drinking game. If he
And
gets
he'll
drunk,
pass, like he'll fall
Yep.
asleep playing it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
numerous
And then
times.
Keely has to, like, put the jaw clamp on him from snoring or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so, yeah, you've been jamming out on that.
Yeah. Which, like I said, it is fun in a group setting.
I was about to say a looter shooter makes sense for you, because I feel like that's, like, something that's, like, just hard enough that, like, you and your friends could, like, grind it out.
Oh yeah.
But, like, not so, like, painfully frustrating that you would be like, I don't give a shit about this.
the thing
you know?
that does kind of stink, which I haven't done personally, is I've only played this with one other person. It's usually my brother, but I've played with one other person before. It can play up to 4, and this is the first time I've played with 3. And one of them is Mason, who I hang out with all the time, talk to all the time, and the other is my little brother, who's like my best friend, lives in Colorado. So that's the one time we really get to catch up, which kind of stinks because us 3 are all together and we're really talking over everything.
Yeah.
And I think Borderlands really does excel in its dialogue. I personally think it's really funny. It's got some good stuff in it.
I do
but
remember, like,
you
like
can't
that
really
one.
catch it when you're talking with
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
friends
Yeah,
the whole
that's
time,
fair.
which kind of stinks.
You guys have definitely referenced numerous things about, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is where we're about to meet so-and-so. Remember when he says this and this? And I'm like, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I didn't hear because Jackson wouldn't stop snoring or something, and then Price was talking about his farts. I don't know.
Well, it is like
Yeah.
the language, like on screen and obviously like playing out loud through the audio too.
Yeah.
It's very good. The names of the creatures, it's all just funny. Like it's all comedic.
It's
all
very-
kinda
it's eccentric
crude humor,
game.
but
Oh,
it's-
correct. Yeah.
Right.
But it's not like poop and fart. Humor.
No,
It's
yeah, but-
just
It's
it's
just
just
cool.
cool.
It's a
little
little
bit.
bit of
It's a
it's a
little bit
little
of that,
simple
too.
humor.
Maybe some of it. I don't know.
Maybe some.
Not
I
all the
don't
time,
think
so.
but I wouldn't say it's like constant farting or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the enemies, when you're shooting them and engaging them, like just little grunts or whatever, they'll say funny stuff
All right.
all the time.
Or like make like noises that
Yep.
you don't expect.
Like one of the things we fought is there are enemies called Goliaths that are huge, and there are little ones called midgets. So there are midgets and Goliaths, and sometimes you fight a midget Goliath. So it's a
That's-
midget character that is
No,
like a Goliath.
I get it.
Packing a punch.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But also, it's not PC.
Oh my goodness.
It's little people.
Whatever.
I mean, I know it's what the character's
Well, it's what-
name.
it's what
And
it's
it's what the
called in the game.
developers called it. I get it, but
Mason, I think you've got me beat though on the amount of games that you've been playing since we've last met, because I think you said you had something else.
Oh yeah. Well,
On your
Dylan
plate?
said earlier that like looter shooters are probably more my forte, whereas my favorite genre is probably racing
Yeah.
games.
Mhm.
That's probably as basic as you get.
Do you have a wheel?
I don't.
Dude,
Oh,
I know.
you need to get
That
one
changes
with
the whole
force
world.
feedback too. Like
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really what
With
you
like
Yeah, the one is
like,
rare.
recoils a little bit.
Yeah, it feels incredible.
It
like
does.
it's such a huge improvement to any racing game, and I'm not that big on racing.
Yeah.
no, but the immersion in it is
Really?
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it
Do
because
they have
like,
those for PlayStation?
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
sure
yeah.
they will.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
so I have one, and it works for PlayStation 3 and PC.
Cool.
I think like some of the 4 ones also can translate up to like Mason doesn't have a 5, but like the 4 could still just work fine
Yeah.
with the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's worth every penny, especially if you get Gran Turismo 7. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about
So-
because
well,
that's not
so-
out yet.
So the Gran Turismo games are actually like, I don't know, they're a little bit too much.
They're a little too
whereas,
strict,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like everything's too realistic, kind of like Forza for Xbox
Yeah,
and so on.
I like more like Need for Speed, right?
Yeah,
Something a little bit more wacky.
That's been my problem when it comes, because I got that steering wheel for VR racing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Project Cars is the most well-known and most well-developed VR racing game.
Yeah.
that's a realistic game.
Yes.
I want an arcade.
Right.
You want to
racer.
punch that gas
Yeah.
Yeah,
pedal
like
and
I want to go
rip.
fast,
Yes.
and I don't want to have to be worrying about losing traction.
Right.
It's a
You don't
little
want
bit
it to be
slick.
pinpoint precise at the entire time. You want it to have like some
Like I'm
chaos.
gonna hit the gas too hard,
Oh, every
Yeah.
time.
and I'm
yeah.
going to spin out.
Yeah,
and
and your
like,
rear end's gonna come out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like those games are great for all of those mechanics and how realistic they are. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's probably a little bit more fun to play those.
Yeah.
Dirt 5 is something that I'm playing right now.
Dirt 5.
It's just a rally game. It's a lot of fun.
How's the soundtrack on that?
It's so it has the Killers.
Uh-huh.
It has Hit the Lights, a couple other bands.
Mhm.
Not that great, honestly.
Okay.
So you say that it's a rally game.
Yeah.
I think I've played Dirt 3.
Dirt 3 is the best dirt there is.
Okay, so that's also in VR. Does it have your your side driver speaking to you the whole
My
time?
favorite
in
part of
Dirt
the
5?
entire game.
So is that
Tell
in
me
5
that
as
you.
well?
Yes. No, it's not, and that's my
Oh,
only
okay.
real qualm with 5.
Oh, they
is
cut the side pass?
There is no verbal communication from your
Well,
passenger.
and that person that's part of the realism.
Yeah,
of
you don't
it.
have to
Like,
look
that's
at
a
your
rally.
map.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have to look at the map at all if you just you can sort of hear
Like,
that
actually
and
listen
put that
to
into the
them.
equation of which turn you're about to make next. If
That's
it's going
cool.
over. Yeah, they'll be like crest in 900 yards or 90 degree blah 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 hairpin turn left really really slight subtle things.
I wonder if that started as an accessibility thing. For the blind gamers and stuff like that.
No, it's
For the blind racers
Yeah.
and rally cars.
Yeah, why not? Well, not in real life, but the video game players.
You better
right?
give
It's
damn
because
good
that's a
directions,
real
Steve.
thing. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
they
a
do
spotter
in
for it.
actual-
Right,
yeah.
right.
Like Travis Pastrana and Ken Block and all them, they'll have someone in there
Sure.
physically. But yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because 3 was my favorite of that franchise. 5 is still really good. It's a lengthy game, and I will say that I have never, with any PlayStation game especially, gotten a platinum trophy. This game is very friendly for that. I've got one more left, and I'll be probably getting that in the next 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the first time you platinum a game?
I think so,
And
but
it's-
I've never cared to do it.
Right. It's
a
just-
lot of them
I'm the
are-
same way.
Organically,
Mason.
as you play it, if you happen to 100% it, I kind of I like that in a game. I don't mind it if it has a bunch of extra content for you to be
Exactly, yeah.
spending the meticulous hours on and stuff
Well,
like
and
that.
some of the trophies are just outrageous on a lot of games.
Right,
too, where
sometimes
you're
they're
like,
just- yeah.
God, that's gonna take 3 weeks just for me to complete that.
And they're like, some animal's gonna enjoy this though. And
The worst one I've heard of is actually in Borderlands. And Jackson said it's, I think you two said you play Borderlands, but
Yeah.
you have to loot every single thing
Oh,
that's
that
lootable
already
in
sounds
the
miserable.
in the game.
Every single chest.
Like,
and
you
every-
cannot
Every
miss
single
one,
chest,
you have
every
to
single
have-
little mailbox.
That's
every
that's
thing.
painful at that
That's
point.
gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
No.
awful.
That's one of the trophies. So if you want to platinum
I don't.
Borderlands, you have to do that one.
I don't want to platinum most of the games, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I especially don't want to platinum that. But all right, duly noted. If we have an FN Borderlands
Oh man.
run, at some
Jackson
point.
will lead it and be
I was gonna
super
say, I know
happy
who will
about
start
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've got going on.
Huh, all right. Well, dirt and
Dirt and Borderlands,
Dan
which is
and
more
Brad,
dirt.
so- Yeah, which
A
is
lot
more
of dirt.
So
N-
before we really crack
Yeah,
into
before we
Elden
get
Ring,
into,
I
like,
guess
the
I'll
meat.
kind of run through the couple of other games.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I've
Talk about
played
what else you've
recently.
been. What led you up to
It
Elden
has
Ring?
been a little bit since we last met up.
That's true.
I've kind of tinkered around in a couple of VR games. I played Ark Park for a little while. I don't know if you guys
that from the Ark
know
crew?
None
that.
of
It's
us
from-
know
It's
it.
from the people that
Ark
made
Survival.
Ark.
You
Yeah.
got 0.3 hours into it, so
And-
I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's all right. It has this weird thing where you can spray paint your dinosaurs. I don't know.
Like graffiti or like just paint them?
No, graffiti though.
Oh my
You
God.
literally, it's a little spray nozzle, and and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it looks just like
He
you're
just does
spray
this for a
paint-
while and then after
Yeah.
It's just like, oh cool, I have a neon green stripe on my dinosaur now.
I-
I'm gonna put racing stripes. I'm gonna put Adidas stripes on it. You know.
I don't think it's a controversial thing to say that I'm probably the biggest dinosaur fan here in this. And
That's not sacrilegious to you.
I'm asking who that's for.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my
like
thing.
why would you do that?
Right.
But I will say visually, it looks fantastic. For a VR game to be, with dinosaurs and everything,
Yeah.
really good. Like if you just want to kind of get that looking around virtual experience, it's there for you, and I think it does a solid
Nathan,
job.
I need you to stop talking and get to your next game because I'm very
Oh
interested
my
in the
God.
next one on the list.
I don't.
Wait,
I'm
Abduction or Frog Detective?
I didn't even get far into that. So that's Frog Detective 2. I know we talked about Frog Detective
yeah,
last time.
we have talked about it. So what's the direct sequel like?
It's
Looks like
another,
Pepe.
It's
It
another
does.
nothing game, so I don't really feel like talking about that.
Ah, damn.
All right. Would you recommend it?
No.
Wait, what if they're huge fans of Frog Detective 1?
Then I just ask them what's wrong with them.
Ah,
Like
damn.
they're not playing a video game.
Follow-up thought: is there a Frog Detective 3?
I don't know, actually.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I ended up getting those for free at some point, so
Yeah.
I was just like burning through them because they're a quick like half hour,
Sure,
100% kind of game.
Yeah.
In any case, another thing that I finally did is I finally beat Baldur's Gate. Ever since we started this,
you have.
I've on and off like updated on the Baldur's Gate situation, and I finally completed the whole arc.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm actually gonna, like, originally I was like, I'm gonna go back through and like replay it with my same character, because
Sure.
that's the thing you can do in this game is you can re-import your character.
Right.
And it's not really a new game plus, so like things are easier, so you can just kind of go around and stomp, and like there's a couple of achievements that are like play by yourself, meaning you never get anybody else in your party.
Right.
I've picked the wrong kind of character for that, because
What character?
those I played a rogue,
Oh yeah. That's
and
fair. Yeah, that's a.
those games don't care if about balance. Like a
No.
rogue is not as good as a wizard. Period. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have been a rogue. I made a mistake making that character. So yeah, I was done with it. I think they did a really good job, because this is the one where the people had gone back and enhanced it, and also added in like this whole DLC that bridges Baldur's Gate 1 to 2.
Right.
I think that story wraps really well and leads you straight into Baldur's Gate 2 perfectly. It literally ends on the scene that Baldur's Gate 2 opens with. So that's cool. It's kind of got me excited to jump into the next one.
We call that the Desolation of Smog in the Middle Earth movies, right? So you wrap right onto, and it's him running in the
You
sun.
know, I watched the first one, didn't watch the rest of them.
Oh man, it has a dragon. What's on to like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
But
Being a cram
other than that-
daggerback.
Other than that, I mean, I played some more Lost in Random. Whenever we had first last met, I talked about it a little bit. I'd only just cracked into it, and I wasn't super hot on it. Haven't gotten much further into it now. I really like it. I think that it does a lot of stuff with just kind of like discussing loss and like how people cope with things, and it really has a lot to say about human behavior and stuff that's very cool. Like, I think it's really smartly written. I like the voice acting for it. It's come around to be a really satisfying game, and I'm near the end of it, but I haven't quite finished it.
Yeah.
And I've also been playing Root, which is a board game as a video game.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, isn't that just like a board game? And
Yeah.
Lost in Random was the one with like all of the like the card, the
Yeah,
dice,
it was like
a
the-
shit ton of like
It
fighting.
was like
games.
the board game feeling kind of world.
Right,
like,
right.
There's literally sections where you're fighting stuff in a board game,
Mhm.
and you're rolling your dice, and whenever your dice is alive, and it's this thing
Yeah.
that you're using throughout the game, but you'll roll the dice, and the dice will actually move a piece on the board, and it'll land on spots, and those spots will do things. So yeah, it's kind of a board game. on
Whenever
its
you
own,
roll
too.
the dice, is it like, does it enjoy it? You
Um,
know, is it like, oh yeah, daddy, you know?
I don't think
Silently.
it really
Touch
goes
those pips.
that
Yeah.
way with it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like sentient and on your side, and it speaks in gibberish, but everybody understands it except for you as the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
they're
like
all
when Price
responding
does a
to
review.
it.
Yeah.
It's also like it'll have you do a conversation with it,
Uh-huh.
where you're just kind of like guessing on how you're supposed to be responding to it.
That's fun,
It's pretty hilarious.
Mhm.
But I mean, after that, I think it's about time to kind of
We gotta cut off Price's leg.
start getting into Elden
Nathan,
Ring
you
here.
got 4 minutes to talk about your next game.
Elden Ring.
Yep.
Oh,
We'll just combine the next 10, 15 minutes
Man,
on this.
there's a lot to be said about this game, and I feel like I'm only just getting started.
I think-
I've played 24 hours.
I
though.
think somebody that needs to lead this discussion is the one who knows the most about it, and I want Mason to tell us
Yeah.
what
Mason,
Elden
what do you
Ring
know
is
about Elden Ring?
It looks like that Dead Souls game.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
All right,
that's-
he's almost-
Dead Souls is a
only
game,
because
so-
when I walked in, Nathan had just died, and it literally said, "You died."
Yeah, well,
So I'm pretty
that's,
sure it's the exact same.
And he was
thing.
very
Yep,
upset.
That's because it's the same studio, and
Yep.
yeah, that's for that reason. So,
It's the
All right.
spiritual sequel.
yeah.
You
Oh,
did
it
it,
is.
Mason.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to pass it off to them at this point.
Oh,
Right.
I didn't know I made a connection there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
I
Good
just
for
remember
you.
You died, and I always laughed at that.
Yeah.
Before today.
No, yeah, you always laugh until it's you, and
Until
then
it's your account.
And then
Well,
you're
so
like,
you know, speaking of that,
Mhm.
this game is incredibly forgiving on that front. Because,
comparatively, yes.
like whenever you die to a boss, you were
Oh, the save points are
never
much more
far
generous.
from that
No,
boss.
no.
Like it's so easy to get back.
But
to that.
I am new to this podcast and I don't know games. I don't know what an Elden Ring
Then
is.
get the fuck out of this podcast. We don't give a shit what you.
All right.
We're just only for hardcore gamers.
Okay, bro.
Neckbeards are welcome. If you aren't an incel, if you've had sex with a person, get out of this podcast. This isn't for no. So Elden Ring, for those who don't know, is the best game ever created as of movie or video game critics.
I mean,
of
according
late.
to critics right now,
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
saying it is the best game ever made.
Right. So
Which is a really high bar,
Bar.
and I do have some things that I'm going to point out that I
Hey,
think kind of
even the best games aren't perfect.
Yeah, that
So.
I mean that's true, and I'm not holding it against them.
Right. So, but as a real quick little let me explain. So it's an open world game. Roll your eyes. Everybody does it. We know, but it's a good one. It's one of the ones that it feels at least in 9 hours in, and I don't know. Maybe, Nathan says he might have some thoughts on that one. But it's an open world game with the core feeling of it is a Dark Souls like game. So that's a term you should be pretty familiar with at this point. Roguelike and all that stuff. I think really got famous off of the Dark Souls brand.
Mm-hmm.
Demon Souls technically, if you want to get really picky, but. So where you're exploring and you're doing all that fun stuff, you'll feel fun and you feel a little empowered, but things kill you and you kill them and you're like, okay, there's a difficulty curve to this. And then you fight a boss and then you remember you're playing a Dark Souls game. That's kind of been like the way I've been pitching it to people, because a bunch of my friends who've stayed away from Dark Souls properties because they're like, I just don't enjoy that. I don't like running my face into a brick wall until either the brick wall breaks or I break. And my masochist friends, the ones who do enjoy the series, they're just like, would you suggest this? And I'm like, loosely, yes. I'm like, here's the thing. From how I would describe it, the exploring and all of that stuff in your open world and all the like.
It's Breath of the Wild.
Yes, it is Breath of the Wild.
Whoa, now.
Well, no, you're right. It's
let's calm it down.
You're right. It's better. So I actually play Elden Ring and I actually keep on playing that.
Yeah,
but
I would say it's better than Breath of the Wild. For
but. And this isn't a comparison thing.
Smoking
I don't
some
care.
crack in this
It's all
house.
preference now. Well, ask the critics. So anyway, so
Did they say the same thing about Breath of the Wild, though?
everything's better in Breath of the Wild until it's Breath of the Wild. Then Breath of the Wild 2 will be better than Elden Ring. I don't know. We'll fucking see. So, but you get humbled whenever you run into bosses or like deep areas into it. Like once you hit,
yes and no. I mean,
at
like,
least for okay. So be just going
so
through like the first main
major
castle.
bosses.
Yes.
I would say do get you back into
Yeah,
the
Margit I could
difficulty
cheese, yeah.
that you would expect out of a Dark Souls game.
Right. So the ones that you're taking hour laps or something like that. But to be honest, sometimes you get. I ran into Mirka. So like in the game, you have like random like red invaders that the game just regenerates, right? Because people can invade you if you wanted to.
Yeah.
like-
So to say red invaders, that typically in this game,
Red is
a PvP like getting attacked by another player kind of event.
Mhm.
That player will show up as a red phantom
Yes.
in your world.
They'll be a
whenever
little
they come to attack
transparent
you.
and they'll be red, so you know bad.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep that very simple. But the game has some auto-generated ones that just have like characters and lore, and they come in as like red phantoms. But so I was at one of the swamps Aeonia or something like that, the like
Yeah.
lava like blood rot swamp, and I was
Did
just
you
exploring.
get teleported there through a magic chest, or
I
is that a different thing?
No, I think I got there naturally because I went through the underground part where you go down in the lake well and you go up to-
Blackreach.
Oh.
Yes, that's the one. So anyway,
Oh, dude.
Good job, Mason.
Yeah.
So,
It's-
Mason,
Is
you're
it kinda
right.
like
you're
There-
absolutely right though.
There
Yeah,
is
there's
a
a
Black
Blackreach
Reach in this, and
yeah.
it's
Yay!
it's everything that you wish Blackreach was.
Ah.
It's so gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
stunning.
Visually,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this game does.
Yeah, and
is
that's the thing
perfect.
that we haven't really talked about yet is this game is absolutely gorgeous and
Yes,
like,
underratedly
the
pretty.
same areas can look drastically different and uniquely beautiful just depending upon the time of day
Yeah.
or how the weather happens to look. Like they don't care if they're making it hard to see at times.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, no, it's going to look good though if we make it foggy while the sun's setting, because
Yeah.
then everything's in hues of orange and like
Right.
it's stunning.
Even if
Yeah.
you're about to walk off a cliff, you're gonna do it really beautifully.
Oh,
I've only
boy,
actually-
oh boy,
yeah.
there are cliffs to fall
Oh,
off.
man. I've only done it twice so far. I've prided myself to not die to cliffs as often as I
I've
could.
died once to a cliff.
It was just because I got a little too gun ho with Torrent, and I was
Yeah.
like, I think there's a cliff that's like right below this, and it just wasn't. Like, or I tried to jump. There was like there's like the little four.
Those like platforms.
Yeah,
that you
the
can
platform.
jump
Yeah, you
across?
don't want to miss those. You don't want to miss this. But anyway, so you get into like your gripes, because I want to go on some of the praise in a second, but I want to hear some of the gripes from.
So I guess I'll hit it with just the gripes to begin with. It has fallen into the classic trappings of an open world game, I will say. And by that I mean that there are certain types of locations, and you will just find those types of locations, and they end up feeling quite similar to one another. You know, the ramshackle shack that you find, like past, you know, where you first meet the maiden, or
Yeah.
most people first meet the maiden,
Right,
because
right.
it does vary.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, like, experience can definitely vary in this game. This is so
This game is highly variable. Like, it'll point you in one direction, but you can go the other way.
That's what I've been doing. Like,
And
yeah,
it's actually a good idea to do that in a lot of cases.
yeah.
Okay, so anyway, not
Right.
to... I
So
will
the
get
con,
back to
the
that.
con, right, we'll
But
come
yeah,
back
so
to
that
this.
shack,
Mhm.
that shack is everywhere. I have found like 6 or 7 of that exact same building.
The copy paste
including
problem. Yeah.
So much copy pasting. I have killed the same boss 3 times now, because it is the guardian of the Erd trees. There's like lesser Erd trees.
Sure, yeah, I've seen the lesser.
Yeah, so there's guardians at a lot of them actually as you get further out into the world, and it's
Right.
the same one, it's the same fight. You get the same type of items.
I did
you know,
bump
whenever
the
you go down into
Pumpkinhead too recently as well. for the
yeah,
second time,
those guys, they're around.
Yeah, I
They're
figured there's
not
gonna be
unique.
more. Once you see two,
So,
you can-
and that's the next thing I was going to say too, is a lot of those dungeons you go down into,
Right.
the boss that you fight at the end ends up being a mob that you'll kind of find later on in the game, commonplace, but those fights, every one of them to me is way too easy. And I think it's because of the second gripe I have with the game, which is it's incredibly easy to over-level an area without realizing it, because since this game is so open world and truly does let you go anywhere you want to go, I don't think it knocks your teeth in hard enough
Right.
in the areas to keep you out
Yeah.
and keep you going in the directions you probably should go.
right.
For example, I spent a lot of time going really far north, only to then decide, you know, I'm going to go and see what's south.
Yeah.
And I realized that I had massively over-leveled to this whole region to the south that really I probably should have started with, because I was one-hitting almost all the enemies, and the
Right.
last boss that even gives an achievement, which not a lot of bosses give achievements
No,
in
that's
this
true.
game,
Yeah,
that boss, I was able to kill him in 5 hits.
yeah.
So this game has some issues there.
So and that's something I kind of want to see how I play out, because again, so you've got a strength focused weapon though, right? So
Yeah.
like you started with the strength.
Well, I
weapon.
started as the hero character,
Yeah.
which just has an axe, and I was like, cool.
Sure,
I'm
let's
just gonna
run with that.
Use the axe. I'm
Yeah.
gonna upgrade it. I'm gonna pour into strength, because I know that you, at some point, will be able to respec your character,
Right.
meaning you can reallocate your attributes. So, you know, I'm just kind of pouring into the thing that I'm already good at to be better with,
Right.
just to get through to the point where I respec, and at that point I'll actually make some true thoughtful consideration
And
on how I
explore
want my
builds a little bit
character
more
to
and stuff
be
like
set
that.
up.
Yeah. No, I came in with like a very clear cut thing for me. I wanted to come in as a dex build like spellcaster, right? So I wanted sorceries. I wanted my like all the finesse weapons. So for those who want, those are like katanas. Those are like what am I using right now?
I got a little tip for you.
Rapier. Yeah.
Oh, rapier.
Yeah.
Okay. There, I can't remember exactly how it happens, but have you been to the round table thing yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got the if it's the +8 rapier. The,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, I got that. I love that I organically got that, right? So for those wondering at home, if you're a Dark Souls fan, you'll understand this reference. So the Big Hat Logan guy in this one, one of the mage teachers in this one, the tutors, you usually catch these NPCs out in the world, I know. So
he just zoned out, and his allergies are killing him. So he was
Mason's just in there. So anyway, so one of these like mage tutors out in the world, like I talked to him, and then like usually when you talk to these people, they end up at like your home base, so to speak, your home world. And like I was talking with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not using this anymore." +8 weapon, which is like the max is like 10 for those at home, and at least as far as I know. But yeah, I was like, what? Because like up until this, I had like a +2 or 3 or something that I've been fucking around with flail and like an S-talk or something like that.
Yeah,
then,
I was kind of bummed whenever I got that.
I was
like,
so
seriously?
stoked because that is a dex intelligence weapon through and through. Like it scales, which means that it does it better with if your intelligence is better and your dex is better.
Yeah.
It does more damage. So that literally was like the perfect weapon to just get dropped into my lap, and I'm like, thank you. This is wonderful. Which did make some things feel a lot easier, because I remember the very next fight I went to was like the first Pumpkinhead like fight.
Yeah.
And I was doing like strength chunks of damage, right? But that being said, so I went into the very first boss, like the true boss fight, which is objectively Margit.
I was gonna ask how that fight.
Or Godfrey, rather. Yeah. And I still got rolled. And even still with that, I wasn't doing giant chunks of damage.
I
or
got
things
a
like
question
that.
for you. At that point, did you have the ability to summon?
Yes.
I did not get the ability to summon until today. Because the event where that girl shows up and tells you how to summon never happened for me. And it wasn't until I was at the round table and I went to the 2 old ladies in that corner, and it's like, oh, they sell a Bell of Summoning.
Right.
Because I didn't know how you got it, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I should have bought it from them the whole time. I never knew that you could run into that person.
Yeah. So if you go back to that first church...
I killed Godfried. I also killed like the main boss of that castle and the one all the way down in the south. All like those are the 3 main bosses I've killed so far. No summons. It was
that's really funny, actually.
Fucking hard.
Oh, I'm sure. I'll say this though, the summons didn't do much for my fight with Godfrey. No, yeah. Like,
well, which ones were you using?
So I started with the wolves, and then they just like the earthquake move he does. They just get wiped on that one. And then I did the jellyfish.
Yeah,
and the jellyfish was clutch.
Jellyfish is a really good move.
Yeah, because it stays back and it just sprays from a distance. It doesn't really do much damage, and it's not the biggest distraction typically, but it'll poison them after a little bit. So over time, you're probably getting more mileage out of the jellyfish. But yeah. Anyway, long story short, because I'm gonna crunch on time. We don't want to turn this into it, and this is going to be something we're probably going to continue to talk about in the foreseeable future. Yeah. So I will say, so far, just as a Dark Souls fan, I am truly loving what they're doing with it. It's been kind of like the perfect like run on open world games for me on my properties that I like, because we just talked about Arceus for a long time, just doing enough steps in the right direction. For those who don't know, Scarlet and Violet also got announced Gen 9 for later this year, so I'll be curious to see how they do that and how much of the good they incorporate from Arceus. But then we go to Dark Souls open world now, because everything needs to be an open world sandbox. But I wonder if it's been more about my keeping myself blind in this one, because I watched like the first couple trailers and like some basic intro stuff, and that was it. And I said, I want to just experience this game.
Oh yeah. And that's the same thing I did too.
Right.
The one thing I've since done is like if I finish an area, then I'm okay with like watching some people's videos.
Sure, doing like a run back. Yeah.
Like there's been a video I watched that was like kind of just discussing Limgrave, just to make sure it's like, did I miss anything? I feel like I did everything, but just in case. And I ended up realizing like, oh, there's some tailoring kit thing that I never picked up, and
I still haven't picked it up.
There's a bunch of stuff that apparently is important to get that I just missed and was just barreling through the main line of the story.
Yeah, with you not having the summoning stuff that late, like is pretty big. But
yeah, that has made the game even easier, which is not great, to be honest, because the game's kind of feeling quite easy in general so far. I'll
see where it goes, and it could be and this could be an overtunement on the strength build though. I mean, I think that's something to consider as well.
Maybe.
If you're crushing with, because I'll tell you, with a +10 weapon, and like my stats are very specific on Dex Intelligence, it's not anywhere close on that damage still. So I wonder, because some with Dark Souls before, like there's been some where like sorcery was way off the fucking chain, and like Dex was like wonderful builds, but strength was like the dumpster build. So I wonder if it's an overtunement thing. I wonder if see how that goes, and maybe it's like just early on you feel that way, and later you get humbled. But more questions for later. Price is giving me the role. He's the producer of the show. He wants to sit here and stop talking, and I want to go back to playing this game. So last closing thoughts. Fuck you. This is our show. Good day. Bye.
All right.
Yeah, it's aggressive. That's it.
Bye.
This is just a video game
That's
one.
it.
If you want niceness, go check out the F Movie Podcast where we do movies.
We're much nicer there.
Yeah, we're much
especially
nicer.
to each other.
No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm having Elden Ring withdrawals. That's what it is, guys. I appreciate you guys, but
Watch our tournament bracket if you think we're that nice.
yeah, if we're not that nice, but also get the fuck out. Get it? Bye, guys. See you next week. We're gonna talk more games. Maybe not.
Probably.
Probably
Probably.
Probably just Elden Ring more.